Hi, Manuraj. Thank you so much for applying for KPMG Investment Banking Division. How are you doing?
Doing very well, and thank you for taking the time to do this interview today. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing great as well. Thank you so much for asking. So, how's the weather where you're based out of?
I'm based out of Bombay, and I can tell you the weather couldn't be worse. We're
Okay.
in the middle of January, and it's extremely hot and humid, and I do not really know what's happening. I think there's a division of KPMG which caters primarily on consulting for the environment. So
Hmm.
if we choose to shake hands in this, I would love to liaison with them and learn more about why is this happening in January.
Well, I'm glad that you knew about the consulting division which works on environment, and that is something which is, of course, like a vertical which will help us understand about environments and all. So, Manuraj, like quickly tell me about yourself, and then we can take the further questions ahead.
Sounds good. So I'm 28 years of age and I come from the capital city of New Delhi. In my most recent stint, I was with Wells Fargo in their strategy planning and chief operating office. I was working as a senior consultant with them on projects spanning policy, cost, revenue, managing the balance sheet, technology, brand initiatives, and a whole bunch of things. And I was an internal consultant, so my services could be hired by the investment banking team, the private equity team, the commercial banking team. We were a very small group of four consultants and one gentleman who was heading the team. And this was an in-house consulting team with the agenda to sort of build in-house capabilities and reduce reliance on outside consultants such as McKinsey, Bain, BCG. And also, we're getting more stringent with data, and you want to have more control as a bank. So I think that was the agenda. Prior to that, I was again with Wells Fargo in their commercial, corporate, and investment banking team. I was part of a small team, which is called Structured Products Group, which was associated with private equity debt side. So I was responsible for credit and investor analysis and managing a portfolio for clients based out of North America and London. And before that, I was pursuing my MBA at the Indian School of Business, where I had a dual majors in strategy planning, strategy and leadership, and marketing. And before that, I was again in banking, but in front end corporate banking for about 4 years, almost 4 years, where I was again responsible for managing an independent portfolio in the large corporate space, creditor analysis, sectoral analysis, industrial analysis, building a recommendation and executing the tranche of transaction was part of my responsibilities. And I've done my undergrad from Christ University in Bangalore. And between the stints, I also spent some time studying, public policy at the London School of Economics. I was in London for a brief summer, and that's my professional journey. And in my free time, I really enjoy policy debates. I'm enthusiastic about sports, and I love traveling.
Got it. Perfect. Thanks for the granular answer. So, why would you want to join KPMG as an analyst?
Right. So I think first of all, KPMG is a very admirable organization, and so are all the other three big four, the other three which are part of the big four cohort. But KPMG is something which I've been observing for a while, and your investment banking team, your product delivery team, your structured products group, your taxation and audit, you have advisory services, and these are different parts of the organization which work in tandem for clients across the globe. So does the other three, but I've had the opportunity to interact with some people who were ex KPMG and were at Wells Fargo, and I really enjoyed their mindset. I think the opportunity to grow in the organization, the opportunity to move from one vertical to another, and to have a cross cultural exposure about KPMG is something which intrigues me. Also, eventually down the line, I do plan to work in different geographies, and I've heard from a few of my colleagues who are ex KPMG that KPMG gives you the opportunity to travel and move to Europe for certain investment banking projects for smaller stints there, and that's something which really intrigues and excites me. So that's why KPMG. But I know you're wondering why analyst, and that's also your question. So getting into that, I think fundamentally there are two parts to why I want to be an analyst and not a consultant or a portfolio manager or a banker. And I think first things first, understanding the granularity of how transactions are conducted is something which only an analyst does. People often perceive that analysts are doing the paperwork, they're crunching numbers, they're working long hours and writing the Excel code. All of that is true. But what is also true is that there's some of the people who really understand the tranche of work which is done. And I think, there's this saying that a great associate was once a phenomenal analyst, a great VP was once an excellent associate, and a great managing director was perhaps the finest analyst of his firm back in the day. So I think once I get to be an analyst in your investment banking division, I will learn the granularity of the entire chunk. And I think I'm allowed to make a little mistake, not that I intend to, which is excusable as an analyst, which may not be. I'm not afraid to ask questions or ask for help. And I think starting as an analyst in the IBD division will really help me at KPMG.
Got it. Thanks for that. Tell us one thing that we have All India rank one who has also applied here. Why do you think we should hire you?
Oh, wow. I think, first of all, congratulations to KPMG for attracting that application from somebody who's an All India rank one chartered accountant. I am not surprised because KPMG is a place where, everyone wants to work at. And I think congratulations to that CA ranker as well. I think it's a phenomenal achievement. I do not have CA rank one. I'm not even a chartered accountant, but doesn't take away from the fact that that gentleman or that lady is extremely intelligent and diligent. But I think I remember back when I was writing my board exams, and I was telling my mentor that, listen, I really need to get a 99 percentage, and then I need to get into SRCC. And he said, Manuraj, listen, I can guarantee that you will get up to 95% because you're smart, you're intelligent, you've done really well in your mock exams. But in the last 2-3%, that marginal value will be determined on the day of the exam. How are you feeling? Some amount of discretion is with the examiner who checks your papers, right? It depends on how your dopamine levels are on the day. What if you get a headache on the day of the actual board exams? Things of that sort. And I feel that somebody who has a 95% or a 99% is probably equally smart, and maybe there's a certain amount of element of luck, discretion of examiner, having a good day versus a bad day, which are things which are outside your circle of influence. I think the analogy I'm trying to draw is that somebody who's a CA ranker 1 versus somebody who's a CA ranker 5 or a CA ranker 20 is probably equally smart. And they're all extremely smart individuals and they're all diligent. But where I am coming from is that the marginal delta in their smartness may not be measurable in a delivery format at KPMG. But I come with a mixed bag of experience in strategy consulting, in credit analysis, in credit underwriting, in investor analysis. And I think I have good stakeholder management skills. So I would be a good fit for an analyst position here compared to the gentleman or the lady who got a rank 1.
Got it. And tell me one thing. So we are also working for 12, 14 hours a day, and this is something which happens on a regular basis because when a live deal is going on, everyone has to work for 12 to 14 hours a day for a certain period of time. Would you be comfortable working late nights with us?
So I think what I've realized being in the financial advisory space for almost about 6 years now, and I often used to think that bankers, especially commercial corporate investment bankers, private equity, venture capital, management consultants, corporate lawyers, these guys work long and hard, and they have long schedules. Why can't we just hire more people? Plus, most of them are overpaid. And then I realized that there's an element of quality, there's a sense of urgency, and there's a sense of control that, control not in a bad way, but the cohort of work that is issued to you needs to be controllable. You need to deliver to the client in a structured manner. You need to meet the deadlines. And I think it's easier to hold one person accountable than to have 7 people answer to you for the same thing. And I think a lot of this requires independent thinking. While I do identify as a team player, and I think that I would love to, liaison with my other team members, ask my mentors for help. But where there is an element of working long hours, doing due diligence, writing a credit memo, crunching numbers, or even preparing up a brief for a client, I think I am more than happy to stretch those long hours because it comes with an immense amount of learning.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you so much, Manuraj, for your interview. Do you have any questions for us?
So okay, so I was thinking about this that you were telling me I was telling you earlier in the interview that KPMG offers opportunity for you to move industries or divisions or even change your practice. And while I've heard this from a lot of people and I've gotten a lot of opinions on the internet, I thought now that I have you, why not hear it from the horse's mouth that what are my growth opportunities? One, within my role as an analyst. Second, my career with KPMG. And third, the fungibility of my opportunities within KPMG.
Sure. So let me answer all of them in one answer itself. So basically, KPMG would give you a very good exposure when it comes to client facing roles, and you will be exposed to talking to consulting clients like from day one itself. As far as your growth opportunities are concerned, we'll be giving you opportunities as and when you perform very nicely, and it will be dependent on your performance. How driven are you? How much ownership you take? How many initiatives you launch in the company? And it'll be a factor of those things. Rest assured, there are people who have become like VPs and AVPs in a matter of 5 years or 10 years itself, being for AVP and VP. And this is something which we'll also give you, if provided that you're also delivering to the mark and expectations. So these would be the growth prospects, and rest assured, like everyone in the company is always there to help you and guide you for your upcoming future as well. And it's our responsibility that we give you like a proper exposure and a proper environment to work with.
I see. I see. So thank you for that answer. I think that puts my concerns to bed. And thank you for taking the time to do this. And I look forward to hearing from you in affirmation.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the interview, and we'll get back to you within a couple of days, and we'll let you know about the final decision.
So thanks, Kushal. Have a nice
Perfect.
day.